Hahepikile washte iuhape. Hahepikile washte iuhape. So, remember I told you that there is a large number of BIA agents that were on Standing Rock. Large numbers. And they kept people out of the Cannonball District meeting. And they also kept people out of, like, own Cannonball District people, like members of the community, out from the meeting also. So, but there's something that I really want to express to you. I really give gratitude and thanks, and there are some true water protectors that are out there that do everything wholeheartedly and spiritually, and they're down and brown, like straight up down and brown, and they have self-control, and when they take that front line, it's amazing. And it just to watch them, you feel really connected, and just to watch them to do their thing. And I mean, that's obviously what they were born to do. They were born to do this. And so, you know, like, through all of this, I don't want you to ever think that it was all full of agitators, because it wasn't. So remember I told you at the beginning of January, we were in negotiations with Standing Rock Sioux Tribe about the Eco Village. We were. And it's getting the Eco Village going up. Where basically where winter camp was going to be moved to from Ocheti Shakoi. That was in negotiations. And when that was going on, Cannonball District sent out their first resolution. And in that first resolution was specifically to shut down Sacred Stone Camp. That was the first resolution. And a lot of people went to bat. They were like, we all showed up. It was live streamed, everything. And everyone showed up at Tribal Council because that's what Cannonball District had done. And originally Tribal Council backed it up. Well, then it got rescinded when all of us showed up and were like, hey. And then we went back into negotiations of the Eco Village that was to be opened up. And clearing the site out, getting ideas and plans together. And the first night of the bridge action took place, and that very first night of the bridge action, the aggressors was definitely Morton County. I personally watched them rip a water protector through the double barbed wire fence. And and they just kept, aiming at us and throwing tear gas at us the very first night. The second night of the bridge action was the most beautiful, and I've said that in previous clips. The second night of the bridge action was beautiful because they were running it in intervals. They would sing a prayer song, and then they would do a chant, and then they would actually say prayers. And there was no aggression from Morton County, and there was no aggression from our side on the bridge the second night. And it was so beautiful. And it was the stillest, calmest I've ever seen it. And it was just like beautiful. That second night was just like badass. And that's the way I had always envisioned us taking the front line. That was like what I always envisioned when we were taking the front line. The third night of bridge action, and this is what shocks everyone, because all 3 nights I was there. The third night, the biggest agitators on the bridge were not water protectors. The biggest agitators were from Standing Rock. And I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up at all. The biggest agitators the third night, when the snowballs are being thrown, when the cussing was going down, when the disrespect to the elders was going down, that was Standing Rock, enrolled member, straight out of Bullhead. And he wouldn't listen to anybody. And they basically said, hey, Wayina, it's got to be another Standing Rock person to call him out. So I did, and it took us 30 minutes to pull him off that front line. And after we pulled him back, that's when Morton County attacked us. So he totally enticed it, and then we got attacked because it was repercussion of his actions. And then literally I left the front line, and then I went out to DC for the Women March. And while I was out there, that's the second time Cannonball voted. And this time it was to close all camps. And it did have a resolution, and at the very bottom of that resolution, it did request martial law for removal of these camps. And I honestly don't think the biggest agitators that were on the bridge that third night were sabotagers. I think they were just really uneducated, angry young men that wanted to take their anger out on the world. That's what I think. I honestly don't think they were there to sabotage us. I think they were just unguided, and they didn't have anyone to guide them. And they were just full of anger, and that's the best way they knew how to let go of that anger. So then, when we were in Washington, D.C., for the Women's March, that's when we got the news that Cannonball District made that resolution to close all camps. And at the bullet of that resolution was to have martial law. Hence, the federal government ordered the BIA to come on to Standing Rock. Is it because of that resolution? Straight up. So then we come back and we tried hashing it out, and we tried negotiations, we tried talking, and it was just a closed one way. Like there was no reasoning, and it was just frustration after frustration. So, like Chase did go rogue, and there were some things I didn't agree with him on, but in reality is he did have his heart out for the people. That's the reality. And when you look at the footage from when Chase's crew got taken out, that was a calm. They did it with dignity. They did it with they were completely calm. There was no cussing, there was no yelling, there was no violence enticed by them. And so the day that Chase was attacked, that's when the governor of North Dakota came to Cannonball, and that ended up being a closed meeting. It said camp leaders were there, and that's not true. When you look at the press releases and you look at the articles, I know because I was there, and it was strictly some tribal council reps, Cannonball District, and the governor, and a few members of Cannonball District community. And it was all held off by BIA. And that's when I wrote that post about the BIA being there, because they put a lockdown on camp. And then the EPA vow on Sacred Stone, the fact of the matter is that EPA does need to be in there, but they didn't need to be violent, and they didn't need to be aggressive. The BIA did not have to do any of that, and in fact they could have forewarned everybody and said, hey, this is what's going down. We would like to open up that dialogue and just do an EPA. But that's exactly that aggression came again from the BIA officers, tribal council reps, Frank Whitebull and Ben Harrison. And it's just really hard to weed through all of this. And then while all this is going down, while all this like politics and BS is going down, like Ocheti Shakoy and Rosebud are diligently working on bringing stuff down. Like they have unified and are slowly pulling stuff down. And it's crazy hard. People are devastated when they see these big piles, but Ocheti Shakoi is in a flood zone. I was for moving camp. I'm not for closure of camp because as long as Dapple's there, then we need to be there too. That's the honest to God truth. And that's the question that was brought up to North Dakota. If you're requesting us to leave, then you should request Dapple to leave too. Like, that was seriously brought up to North Dakota officials. I heard it with my own ears, and it was discarded. Now, reminding you, this isn't all in litigation. This is all in court litigation, and this is all going to be, it's all going to go to court, and that's where the next battle is a court battle. And there is an environmental impact statement that is pending. The notice of intent was already filed, so therefore it has to follow through according to the law. So if it is really in litigation, then Dapple needs to pull out from the lands completely too. And so all of this is just what's going on in Standing Rock. That's not including the refugee ban. That isn't including the immigration ban. That isn't including the drones that Trump had sent up and killed an 8-year-old girl. That isn't including the new laws that are coming in that discriminate against women that have had abortions, or the homophobia that will be evidence. And it's crazy though, because for the past 30 years, like we were constantly told by white privilege that this racism doesn't exist. And now it's like blatantly in our face. And we're like, we told you guys. So that like all of this is going down. So like while all this is being done on Standing Rock, the oppression straight across the board everywhere. The only thing that really gives me hope is seeing all these other camps that are going up. Like the camps in Florida, the camps in Texas, any camps that are going up in opposition of a pipeline or a wall or a uranium mine or a copper mine. Like that's the only thing that gives me hope is civil disobedience, because the governing system is corrupt. And it's on our shoulders. It's not on anyone else's shoulders. This is on ours to bear, because we're here. And for whatever reason, like Creator had placed each one of us here at this point in time. You have some talent, some gift that you can utilize to change our world. And we're at that pinnacle moment right now to change it. Because you can no longer look at your children and then promise them that they're going to have the best if we don't fight for it now. And so that's the only thing that gives me hope, is just looking out and seeing all the marches and seeing all the camps and seeing everything that goes up. So yeah, that's what's currently going on. It's been really crazy. I couldn't go live because I was so angry at my own people. I couldn't believe that they would create a resolution that would that was against us. I couldn't believe it. And it took me two days to come down from that anger. And it took me a whole 24 hours to be able to even pray for them, because I knew what they had done. I was intelligent enough to understand that resolution was going to hinder us and oppress us, and that the federal government in North Dakota was going to welcome it with welcome arms. So, where do we go from here? I don't know. All I know is that we're continuing. It was really cool. I ran into some of my original No Dapple crew, the ones from last year. This is when we started meeting about opening camp this time last year. And they were like, we got a new camp, you should come check it out, and you should come show, like, and I walked the land today, and I saw everything, and it was just, that feeling was back. And I just had to sit there and enjoy that feeling. And it was just it's in a really great location, and it's 100% on private land. So yeah, that feeling was just great. It was just like, whoa. So Ocheti Shakoi camp does have to come down. It is in a flood zone. I say continue supporting Sacred Stone, but also help Black Hoop Camp also, and Cheyenne Sioux Tribes Camp that's going up. So there's 2 new locations. Cheyenne River has a campsite now, and then Black Hoop has a campsite now too. So those are the 2 new sites plus Sacred Stone. Ocheti Shakoi and Rosebud Camp does need to come down because they are in a flood zone. Again, because I saw the maps, it's like I just looked at the lay of the land, and recognizing how much snow that we have right now, not including the soon to be accumulated snow. So I honestly don't think the Missouri River is gonna flood into us. I think that the snow that's currently there is what's gonna be flooding. So yeah, that's currently what's just like some things that were going on, and I just wanted to share that, and I just wanted it to be known. And I the only thing I say is prayers for unity, prayers for us to have effective communication skills, and to unite. And remember that we did put a call out for you guys to march to the Army Corps of Engineer office in your area for no DAPL, and there is still a call out to defund DAPL. Bank exit. Those are the 2 that are currently going on. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great night, and remember, this is on anybody else's shoulders, and as long as DAPL is still there, we need to still be there too. So this is on our shoulders. Let's change it. This is not on anybody else, and our children should not fix our mistakes.